Samope, Sampadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samope, Jumpadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you pumpuma, Asam pumpuma.
Good evening, Era One radio listeners. It's another Thursday, the 27th day of October, 2022. Tonight, we're coming your way again with another edition of Divine Connection. And as you all know, Divine Connection simply means where divinity meets humanity. We are bringing the divine into our lives. So whatever we do, whatever scriptures we decide to focus on, it's meant to, make our lives better and to make our lives as divine as it could ever be. Well, tonight we are blessed. Pastor Kron was away on vacation for a few days, or I would say weeks, and he's back with us tonight. He might be a little under the weather by his voice, but the wisdom and the apport that he hasn't diminished. It's still there. In actual fact, he's come with full speed. So, Pastor Kron, you are welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Boison.
All right. And then in the other aspect of our studio, all the way in the continent Africa, is our own one and only Uncle Max Baden, also here tonight with us. When Pastor Kron was away, he filled in, and we still did a nice and beautiful broadcast. All right, tonight we are looking at a very fresh topic. And as you know, whatever scripture we take from the Bible text we read, it's meant to give us a contemporary outlook, not just looking at what is happening in those days, but then what is happening now in our time. We are looking at a parable that Jesus told. He always taught his disciples and the congregation in the wilderness in parables. So tonight we are looking at one of them, the parable of the talents. Bless you. And well, my topic is the parable and the practicality of investment. A talent is something that needs to be invested. Tonight we are going to look at that in a very broad contextual. If you want to call in, the number to call is 2402-802-633, and texting is by 510-931-0946. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Modern Ghana Radio, and Garden Radio. And I'm your host, Charles Boison. Well, I will give it to my co-host and my guest to give us some opening remarks. Pastor Kron, any opening remarks for us tonight?
Yeah, it's good to be back at home. I didn't take a vacation. I went on a working adventure.
Oh, okay.
And it was good. I mean, lot of fun, lot of fulfillment. So it's back. It feels good to be back at home with family, with loved ones, and of course, back on this platform to share ideas with such esteemed and accomplished people like yourself, Dr. Boison, and almighty Uncle Max.
Well said. I think I smell Kenke and Papishito and some Kena in your voice. Am I right?
Yeah, I just ate Papishito and Kenke.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right.
I have cold, right? Ghana, they will call it Qatar. I have Qatar. But I still manage to do my Papishito and Kenke. I'm a Ghana boy. I will never change.
All right. When you're done, just add some ginger and you should be fine. Uncle Max, any updates? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. And I'm glad to hear Pastor Kron had a good adventure. But Ghana Incorporated has been experiencing some misadventures under the leadership of our ministers and the rest of the government. You've probably heard that CD went into free fall, and people are kind of they're taken aback. They're scratching their heads. Even the finance minister who's in charge pronounced himself perplexed at what was going on. So basically, he doesn't have a clue and yet President wants to retain him for negotiations with the IMF by his own is having to seek professional advice from other firms outside of the country. So one has to wonder where we are heading. As we are dealing with this, and this is an interesting case where certain talents have been vested in the government of the day. And it would seem that far from investing those talents into productive enterprises which would yield a return for the country, they have been hidden under people's pillows and in their bank accounts. And basically, they've been put in the ground, and therefore are not only not yielding returns, but actually the future of this country, to the point where a rumblings that one minister put that the NPP party managed to forestall what could have been a coup d'etat. And I had to scratch my head and wonder, now who caused them? You caused the problem. The fact that you managed to stop it from getting worse, it's not cause for celebration. But this is where we are. So, of God, and as our president, we will find a way with his help. But
all right. Well, I think
probably each.
All right. I think we'll find a way
to our lives.
Yeah. I think we are breaking a little bit, but we'll find a way. Yeah. I mean, tonight's topic, investment, I think has to do with a whole lot of what is going on in the world. I know our president was dancing. President Biden was dancing some Balogu and Mezop here today because the economy, as I hear, is going by 2.6%. I mean, in terms of the economy. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Let me take a quick jingle from my first lady, Sister Abna from Poma, and then we'll zoom into our study tonight.
Kosuanati era one radio empenyini say yensoma na motenten yesoma banyasafo era one radio yedinsem anumuaye ebre.
All right, we are back on Era One Radio. We are broadcasting live from Facebook and YouTube and also Modern Ghana Radio. In the hot seat, I don't know how hot their seat is, but mine is kind of not too hot here. I have Pastor Kron and Uncle Max Baden here in the studio to help us discuss the parable and the practicality of investment. We're going to find out how these investments were appropriated and how they were used. Somebody was giving 1, somebody was giving 2, and somebody was giving 5, all based on their abilities. So with your permission, gentlemen, I'm going to read our scripture. It might be a little long, so I just want to cue it in, and then we'll go into the nitty-gritty of the discussion. Do I have your permission, gentlemen?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, well, okay, all right. Thank you. All right, so we are looking at the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 14 through 30. I mean, we can't break it because we want to get the whole context, so that's why we are looking at 14 to 13. So please grant me your audience and then read along, and I'm sure the gentlemen are going to break the scriptures very well for us. All right, so it starts with for the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. 16, then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. 18, but he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh, and reckoneth with them. And so he that has received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Lord with small l. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, Thou deliverest, this L is a capital one, I'm not, the gentlemen are going to comment on that. Thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. 2:3. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast, that is thine. 26. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchanges, and then at my coming I should have received mine with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which had 10 talents. 29. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance, but from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. 30. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness, where there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is the word of the Lord. All right, that's a very interesting scripture. So we're going to go through the pattern quickly. All right. So, gentlemen, you realize that Jesus, most of his discourses used simile such as like to depict the kingdom or the principle of or the status of heaven. How was he expecting the disciples to understand it instead of using plain language? Uncle Max, you first.
So I didn't get the question. How was he?
Okay, how was he expecting them to understand this, this parable without prose or plain language? Did you hear my question?
Well, I think he tried to simplify the language. Now, yeah. The whole point of metaphor really is to allow the listener to use something that is within their experience to imagine something that they have not experienced by extrapolating from their experience and new elements which they can essentially use to extend their experience and imagination so that they can get to a semblance of the new paradigm that the speaker wants to introduce. So in this instance, Jesus uses a familiar everyday experience where a business person goes on and asks his to take care of his property. And because they have been with him for some time, they have an idea of his expectation, and they are able to meet the man's expectations, and one of them isn't. And Jesus is saying that, well, the kingdom of heaven is like this, where people, you and I, as servants of the Most High, are given talents, and we are expected to do something with those talents and generate a return on the investment that has been seeded to us, so that at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, we are able to look God in the face and say, Lord, this is what I have been able to do with the gifts and the talents that you gave to me.
Awesome.
So he's personalizing the whole thing and making it accessible to the listener, who can now imagine himself being the servant, but being a servant of the Most High rather than being a servant of a human master.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks. Pastor Con, do you want to respond to that? And are you done, Uncle Max? I don't know whether you were done. Yeah, you get cut in the
I was just checking if that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of delayed response there. So, okay. All right, Pastor Kron, do you want to respond or you want to usher us into the subject of this parable?
Well, I mean, I think he's covered the ground
Okay.
completely. So, just to add for the students listening now, those in school, as he said, this is figurative language. So we have to understand where Jesus was coming from and why he chose to couch his message in figurative language. You realize that with figurative language, it's all pictures. So it hits at your imagination. Your mind begins to create mental pictures of what is being shared. And it's interesting. Scholars have recognized and have asserted that 90 to 95% of all human learning is through analogy. And there can be no better analogy than metaphoric language. Okay. But the takeaway from this test, for you to really get the meat, you have to identify all the elements in the text that have figurative texture. So here, Jesus said the kingdom of heaven. Well, the number one reason for metaphoric language is that the speaker is talking about something that the hearer or the audience may not be familiar with. So the speaker uses, as Uncle Mas said, something within the experience of the hearer in order to explain that which is not within the hearer's experience. By so doing, two things happen. The hearer actually gets a deeper understanding of what he already knows and its applications and implications. And then also gets to know a new thing that until then, you get me? So the trick here is to identify the elements that make up the analogy. So here we have Jesus saying the kingdom of heaven. So the subject here is the kingdom of heaven. Kingdom of heaven, the subject of any text is what is being talked about,
okay,
or what is being said about that thing. But we all know that subject is not necessarily the same as meaning.
Meaning, okay.
So though Jesus was talking about the kingdom of heaven using something familiar to us, the import, the meaning may be completely or quite different from what the subject is. So that's the takeaway from it. So we have the elements, if we have to recognize them. You have a man that is traveling to a far country. Man traveling far country, who called his own servants. So the servants are also metaphors. And delivered unto them his goods. Goods are also metaphors. Oh, wow. So we have to account for this, right? When we take a good, merchandise, what is it, right? It has use and it has price, because the word goods is a commercial term that gives us the idea that this man was a merchant. And therefore, the setting of this text was a business setting. And the servants may be workers for this businessman. And with that, you, the hearer, you now imagine what happens within a business setting with the owner or the president of the company and then the workers. What sort of relationship is found in such a setting? And here we have Jesus saying that this man, this businessman, the company or the founder of this company decides to go to a far country. For what? We are not told. But in his absence, he wants the business
to run, continue. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's very interesting. How did he expect that to be done? He wanted the business to run through those he had trained. So we realize that these were not just servants who were being given
responsibility.
You getting me? And then the Bible said he delivered unto them his goods. So where we miss it most of the time is we don't even add this. In addition to the goods, he gave them talents. So let's look at what is happening. Because they were workers in that business or that business setting, they had their daily bread. If they had family, they were able to feed their family from this business. But they were servants. As long as the man was there, they were workers. The moment the man left, he made them co-presidents so that the business will continue. You understand? That's what Jesus was putting in our plate here. Let me shut up for now.
Well, sir, this promises to be, it's going to be very exciting because I'm seeing a whole lot of business ethics and all, all the stuff that you can think about. Uncle Max, Pastor Kwon mentioned that the meaning of a text and the subjects are totally different. And so let's go a step forward and say the theme might also be different. So what do you think would be the theme that is running through this parable?
Well, the theme is a business theme, as we understand business. It's very much to do with generating a positive outcome from a situation that you are placed in. And you do that, you generate that positive outcome by building on or building with whatever you have, whatever ability. Yeah. And very often, what we need in a situation isn't a lot. In as much as you have done it to the least of your brethren, you have done it unto me, is the guidance that we are given. And I've had so many examples where somebody has been kind, simply being kind to somebody else. And that kindness has had a ripple effect because of the changes it has engendered in the recipient, who has then gone on to essentially dispense more of that kindness unto others. So when we are talking about generating a positive outcome, it's not necessarily a material one, in the sense that it has to involve goods, it has to involve services, it has to involve money, and so on. No. We deal with people and with situations every second of our lives. And within the process of those seconds, we can choose whether we will be kind in our thinking, in our speaking and in our actions, or whether we will be unkind. And what we are challenged to do is to find kindness, to find we can make what we are to the choices that we make. We are here on behalf of our Creator to make choices that will leave the world a better place. So that's what I would say to this.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we have to make this.
How do we behave and how do we act?
We definitely have to leave this place a better place than we found it, like some people always say. All right, Nisaba, I know we mentioned about simile. We also mentioned about metaphor, but I think there are some serious literary forms that we want to look at tonight. Would you be kind enough to share some of that with us as far as this text is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, when we say literary form, it has to do with how the author has structured the text to present what the situation, problem, or issue is and how it is resolved.
Okay.
So that's when we say literary form, it goes to the heart of looking at the text and call it the exposure of the text, right? How the author chooses to expose the text by creating situations and how the situation is resolved. By so doing, you create in literature what we call the plot. By all kinds of things, you look at what the goal of the character is and what he does to reach those goals or accomplish those goals, and then the obstacles he faces and how he overcomes those obstacles. That's how the literary form it helps us to understand the story. So in this, Jesus painted a picture of how somebody who had a situation, the need to travel, but he also had an issue, the need for the business to continue. The business must not falter in his absence. You getting me? So the question becomes, how do I accomplish both goals? I want the business to still operate in my absence. And I also have to be away so I can go about some other business also. But meanwhile, I'm one person. I can't be in both places, and that becomes a very interesting scenario for us. How to extend ourselves in others. You getting me?
Yes, sir.
How to grow ourselves by growing others.
Wow.
How do we become better? By making other people better. You're getting me? Very, very, very interesting the way Jesus. You're getting me? The literary form, therefore, is, as I said, what are you facing? How do you resolve it? And how you manage to resolve it? And everybody, whether we like it or not, are in some sort of relationship. If you are a worker, you are the servant of somebody. If you are the president, you are the lord of somebody. One way or the other, we've been presented with a situation. And it actually tells us about the goodness of God. And so let me say something. If you have a job, it's God's way of telling you, learn all that could be learned. Do the best that you could do. For out of that, one day promotion may come to you. So God first makes you a servant before he makes you a president.
Of course, yeah. You have to be a good steward.
You're getting the picture clear. Somebody knows the place you are going to. So God places you within the vicinity of that person in a sort of relationship so you can learn from him. That's a thought-provoking idea. Don't look at your job as just a means of putting food on your table. Your job actually is there to make you a president. If you are in a business relationship, God is trying to tell you, for you to become the owner of a business, I want you to learn how businesses are managed by somebody or people who already have the experience. What you are looking for, somebody already has it.
That's true.
Let me shut my big mouth.
All right. On that note, thank you very much, Nisa. But that is very thoughtful. That's a mouthful. Yes, we have to learn to be good stewards so we can become owners of our business. All right. Before we continue, we have to go into who the stakeholders are, because it's not only the business owner or the servants, but I believe there are other stakeholders that we want to learn. But before we do, let's tell our listeners where they are at the moment.
Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Samupe Jumpeditia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, and you panchima. Chimtu asam panchima. Chimtu agratunchima.
You are still listening to Era One Radio. We are broadcasting live from Facebook and YouTube, also on Modern Ghana Radio and Guardian Radio. Before the break, Nisaba was telling us how to be a good steward so God can promote you to become a good owner of your own business. Sometimes we belittle where we are placed. Of course, when we were going to primary schools, we learned this idea that brighten the corner wherever you are, wherever they put you, even if it's a small corner, brighten it. That is when God knows that I can give you more to be responsible. All right, let me go to Uncle Max for a minute. Uncle Max, this scripture is very loaded, very, very loaded. And so we want to find out who the stakeholders are. I know I've mentioned the businessman is one of them, and then maybe the three stewards or the servants. Do we have any more that we can add as people who are really interested in this parable, which to us is the practicality of life? Come on, are you hearing me? I think we're having some audio difficulties.
But I presume
You didn't hear me?
we are having audio challenges today.
Oh yeah, I think there's.
I didn't hear your lead up to the question.
So I was asking about the stakeholders for
this. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now. I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're having some freezing and some glitches over there. Yeah, the internet service, I think, is not too strong in Ghana.
Sorry. There are two other implied stakeholders or stakeholder group.
Okay.
The business person mentions the usurers, the money lenders, or money changers. So that is one group. Although they are passive, they don't actually have anything to say in the passage. But in the pastor also makes reference or issues an order, take money, this, give it to the 10 talents and cast out the lazy servant. So he's clearly speaking to somebody else other than the 3 servants. But again, that person identified, so we must presume it is another the master's or business person's associate the any stakeholders within this particular story. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, we are hearing.
Yes.
There's a little bit of glitches,
Hello?
in between. Yeah, getting some glitches in between. I think
Okay.
the
Yeah, for some reason the connection isn't very good today.
kind of slow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd
right.
like to expand on something that Pastor Krong mentioned, which was to do with being a steward. And of course, everybody is a steward of their own lives. Everybody has their life as a business to run. And the thing about being set over much, having demonstrated fidelity over little, is that when you are able to manage your life, the challenges that are placed before you, and you manage them well, then automatically others will come to you, or you will be given others to help them to run their lives also. Their lives being whatever they are engaged in. They may be co-workers or other staff. And so you'll be given that leadership position or a greater stewardship over others so that you can impact the universe more possible than if you strictly up just your own talents. And the principle, I forget the name of it in business terms, which is to do with promoting people. And so this is a slightly cynical thing, which says that people typically are promoted to the level of their, what's the word, inability. Okay, so you keep getting promoted until you hit a point where you clearly cannot cope very well, and then you get stuck at that level. And it's a bit like the process of schooling. You know, we are here to learn. And until you pass the test at the particular level you've got to, you don't get moved up. There's another principle and another lesson in here, especially for our part of the world, where often people get into a particular position of authority and they try to make themselves indispensable so that they cannot be easily replaced. So they want to hang on to the job. What they don't realize is that if you hang on to a job too tightly, it also means that you don't allow yourself to put it. And there are companies where they will not promote a person until that person has been able to train a successor. Because that process of transferring the skills that you have, transferring your talents, demonstrates competence in discharging that level of ability. And once you've demonstrated full competence, then clearly you are ready for something else, something
level.
higher. And if we were to apply this kind of principle in our business arrangements, perhaps we will go further because people would then be motivated to improve themselves rather than to hold on to whatever they've got and block their own as well as everybody else's progress.
Wow, that's very powerful, very profound. Yeah, Uncle Max, you made a very profound statement, and that has to battle the fact that in every establishment, you either have to be a mentee to start with, and then you have to become a mentor to be able to mentor those who are coming behind you. Some people, like rightly said, want to make themselves indispensable. They think they are the boss of the place. So when they are not there, the whole company should crash down. And like you rightly said, if you can't duplicate yourself or train people to stand in for you when you are not there, then you haven't achieved much. So most of the companies that break down or suffer suffocation is just because they couldn't train their mentees to take up the job. I mean, if I'm not there, the work cannot go on. I mean, I am the best, so that doesn't work. And that's a very right way of putting it, because we have to be good stewards before God can actually give us more. That brings me to this question about the conflict that each of the servants really hard. And Pastor Akon, I want to revert to you. What do you think were the conflicts that each of these servants, the 5, the 3, the 5, the 2, the 1, whichever one they received, what do you think were the conflicts that existed between them?
Okay. Dr. Boison, before I proceed, there is one more stakeholder we haven't mentioned.
Okay.
The Bible said the first 2, they went and traded.
So they had partners.
They traded with some people. And that's a very interesting, you see, Dr. Boison, there's something about life. If you are a banana farmer, you may eat some of the banana, but you may not be able to eat everything.
It depends on how large it is.
And the point is, banana may not be the only thing you need.
You want to eat. That's true. You need
let's say you need cassava for your fufu, but you are a banana farmer. And then you trade your banana for cassava from the cassava owner, who also can eat some of the cassava but needs banana.
For banana bread.
Dr. Boison, an interesting revelation is here. As a result of going to trade with the banana, you have to know the value of your banana and the exchange rate of your banana.
Now we are going somewhere. We are going. Yeah, let's go.
You getting me? You must know how much cassava will trade for your banana. Dr. Boison, as a result, the moment you decide to be a good steward, just knowing one thing enables you to know multiple things. Because you would have to know the value of banana and the value of cassava in order to do a good exchange. And that's what life is about. You get me? It's an interesting. God starts you somewhere. As a result of dealing with others, you gain skills without realizing you are gaining skills. Are you getting me? So the traders at the other end, they need the banana if the talent given and the goods given by the master were banana, for example. There are people who need the banana and you need their cassava. So again, as I said earlier, you identify the talents. What did the talent do here? The talents were nothing more than means of exchange. You getting me? They had something, they traded. Trading simply means you let go and then something comes in. What is in your hands has to go.
Then bring in something.
And something else comes into your hand. And here we are getting to learn. As you follow that process, what comes into your hand is bigger than what leaves your hand. That is growth. And that lends credence to what my senior brother, Uncle Mark, said. If you hold on to the job, thinking you are indispensable, I know one company, IBM, no promotion will come to you until you train your successor. No promotion. You will never be made the manager of a department if you have not trained another person to be the assistant manager of the department. So that when you are there, your successor is also there, so that the business will continue in your absence.
Yep. No break. Yeah, continuous.
And that's what Jesus is trying to tell us here. In actual fact, by you training your successor, you learn to increase yourself.
That's true. Add more value to yourself. That's true.
A teacher necessarily becomes a better teacher when he or she
Parts.
has students. Are we getting there? These are deep truths of life.
That is true.
You getting me? So again, that's why I said by bringing out the other traders at the other end. And that leads me, maybe let me fast forward and I'll come back. Dr. Boison, the problem with the third
Servant.
who hid his talent, I realized that time, but I want us, our audience, our listeners, to take it and think about it. What really happened there? And let me illustrate it. Dr. Boison, if this was a water bottle, a bottle of water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's say you have 1 cup full of this. Dr. Boison, the issue of life is this, and I learned this when my last daughter was in grade school, 2nd grade. Her science textbook said, nothing is lost in life. The water that was there from the beginning is still here. Nothing is lost.
In another
and
form.
it set me down to thinking. But Dr. Boison, the reason I want to bring this bottle of water is that, you see, when you close the bottle of water and you throw it under your bed, the water will be there. It will not be used. But when you decide not to close it, somebody will drink that water. And that water may cleanse the system of that person and then come out as urine or sweat or tears or what have you. That water will evaporate back into the environment. And then it will come down as rain, where somebody will have it to wash his car, the same water. And then when that person uses it to wash his car, that water again will get back into the system. And somebody may get it to drink it. The moment you trap that water and you close it and you throw it under your bed, like this man did, this whole process that continues in life
is curtailed.
That is what we are dealing with.
Mm.
So let me tell Ghanaians, those holding the dollar, those holding and what have you, thinking they will make somebody look bad. And that's not to say I'm holding brief for this incompetent government. But where the truth is must be said.
That's true.
Those holding the dollar to make this government look bad, your curses will be on your head because you have curtailing
the process
of life. Because of you, somebody may not get the money to pay his child's school fees. Because you are hoarding, somebody may not be able to feed his family, and their tears will get to God and they will come on you.
That's rain. Bad rain.
Because when you release it, somebody may have the money to do something, and the processes of life will continue. When you hold it, thinking you are doing something for whatever, think about the consequences. Jesus said, the man who said, I hid your talent because of the blah, 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 he was cast into outer darkness.
And given to the one who was keeping the cycle moving.
Allow the cycle to continue. This is what we need to hear. Don't think about the government. What are you doing to make the situation better? Are your lust for power actually dooming your chances in life? It's up for grabs. Thank you.
Wow, this is deep. Of course, I mean, at this point, I don't have to tell you, listeners, that we have to continue again next week because we haven't even scratched the surface. We just, I mean, I just got to it. I mean, the fourth question of whatever I had listed. But we haven't even come to the conversion of the dollar. We haven't even come to, as they said, why I didn't like the banana. I would have loved if you used the example of plantain because when you give me plantain, I give you cassava. Both of us can enjoy fufu, but banana and cassava doesn't go for fufu. So I would just prefer you use plantain anyway. That's an analogy. I don't want to choke on. Don't choke yet. Don't choke yet. Don't choke. But because when you were saying, I was just imagining banana and cassava. Some verbal quantitative. I was trying to, merge the two. I can't boil the banana and cassava to give me fufu. But that's just an example you made. I'm just joking. But then, what he said was it's a very serious thing. That is how come some countries' money is so valuable. Right now, I can say the dollar is trading at almost 13, 14 cedis in Ghana. Why is the US dollar so high and the Ghanaian cedi so low? And the euro is about 13.7. The pound sterling is about 15. Why is there that difference? What makes one country so high and another down? Why was somebody giving 5 talents and another giving 1? And even the 1, instead of proving himself, oh, master, you look down upon me, you despise me, you gave me 1. I'm going to prove to you that I can do something and even double it. But he decided to put it in the ground. And the manager said, you know what, because you stopped the cycle, like Pastor Con said, you are not even worthy to live. I will suck the breath out of you. Uncle Max, we have 6 minutes more. Do you want to say something about what Pastor Con said, or you have a new revelation you want to give us? Because this is getting sweet, and unfortunately we are rounded off. But give us your, because you are there, you understand the power of the dollar versus the cedi. So give us your take.
Okay, well, first of all, the cedi has now depreciated to 15 to the dollar.
Wow.
So it is going down daily. But I believe it will plateau relatively in a little while. So I think Pastor Akron has made some very, very deep and profound observations here to do with keeping the flow going, keeping the cycle of life going. And this implies an engagement on all levels. Yeah, we don't just live with our stomachs. We have heart, lungs, brain especially. And what we seem to be struggling with in this country is the use of our brain to engage the talents that we have been given in this country, the gold, the bauxite, the timber, the cocoa, and so on, which we have signally failed to deliver. I was having a discussion with some people who were querying why it is that Bank of Ghana has decided to go and buy gold, ostensibly to shore up the cedi. And I said it was the most stupid thing I've ever heard, because it is tantamount to buying back what you already own. And they said, doesn't a mineral code allow for 15% of ownership of our mineral resources? And I said, no, actually, the law says that the government, on behalf of the good people of Ghana, own 100% of everything that is below the ground, within the ground, and under the seabed, and so on. 100%. So really, if we were using our brains, we would pay foreigners, if we don't have the technology ourselves, we would pay them to come and extract these mineral resources. And then when we sell it, we would own 100%. And we don't have to sell all of it. What we don't want to sell immediately, we can put in the vaults of the Bank of Ghana. So we have some gold to back our currency. But we don't do this. We basically give our mineral resources to say, please, when you take it out, please give me some 2% or 5% or some ridiculously small amount. And so we remain poor because the talent that God has given us, we weigh without ever taking shape of it and its potential, and without doing what we need to do with it to give it the value that it should have. And this is, I think, where we are in this country and why we remain poor. We own 100% of the talent, but we give away 98% because we are too lazy to use our brains. And we are too corrupt to bargain transparently and honestly on behalf of the country. But we take a cut for our stomach and the rest of it we give away. This is our problem.
Unfortunately, well, my brother is using his talents and he has become a distributor of a tea herb that is controlling diabetes in Ghana and across the world. For those of you in Ghana, I've been blowing the trumpet on this medicine. Please, it's called the Fiminji Herbal Tea. If you are in Ghana, call the Fiminji company. Kofi Abwe is the one in charge. Please, you can even Google it in Ghana. This is somewhere in Abosokan. Go and get. All you do is just put one in a tea, one tea bag in a cup, pour some hot water and let it sit for about 5 minutes and drink it. If your A1C contributing to diabetes is high, you need this to make you control this disease. Well, tonight we just scratched the surface of our topic. As we rightly said, this is profound. We are going to go in depth about the resources of the world. Why some countries have a lot of resources and they are not using them. Some have a few, but they are using their wisdom to tap it, and how currencies are dancing, Palogo and Mezop and all kinds of stuff in the world. We'll go into that next week. But until then, I just want to give thanks to this honorable gentleman, learned men. I am so honored and blessed to be in their presence. We just moderate for them to spew out their knowledge, even in the state where Pastor Kron seems to be having this little bit of under the weather. He still showed that is what we call commitment. And Pastor Kron, thank you very much. And Pastor Uncle Max, far away in Africa, I always say it's past his bedtime, but he stays on to share his knowledge. And you can't have this in the textbook, please. Even those of you in Bible school, I don't think they're teaching you. So if you're in Bible school, every Thursday and sometimes Tuesday, tune in to Era 1 and listen to this program, because this is like more than 10 credit hours for your degree. You can take some of these lessons for your dissertation, and your chairpersons are going to give you A's or whatever it is. So thank you for listening to us. And I want to give credit to Dr. Samuel Osetutu, our CEO, who has made all this possible to give us this platform to share this knowledge. I'm just the moderator, and I'm honored to be the one asking this cool questions and having all these ideas. Pastor Akrom, it's 7 o'clock. I don't know whether I gave you a chance for closing remarks. I don't know whether you have anything more to say.
Next week, we'll go further down.
By all means. So, all right. So listeners, you can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Modern Ghana. We are live 24/7. Go back to YouTube or Facebook and play this clip again. I know today we had a few technical glitches, but then I apologize and we'll fix it next week. Every now and then it comes. But don't mind the glitches. It is the meat, the substance, what we are discussing, that is very important. This is just a parable. Jesus never speak without giving parables to his people. He wanted them to understand in depth. And this is where the professors on my studio explain the similes and the metaphors, the onomatopoeias and all the literature. It makes it so spicy and nice. We don't just give out prose. We are talking about all the literature jargons you can think about. It makes it exciting. So Pastor Con and Uncle Max, I'm so grateful that you made time tonight. We'll meet again next week and we'll go deeper, because we're going to go beyond 2 weeks on this level, because it is so meaty. It talks about stewardship. It talks about ownership. Some of you, when they give you a company to man, you put it there. Of course, prayer is not bad, but I hear sometimes some places in the afternoon, people are closing their shop and so may come by, but it is good. But you have to be good stewards. If the owner comes and you just closed and went away, I don't think this too. We have to use wisdom. We have to apply what God is giving us. And that is what Divine Connection is about, bringing divinity into our human life. Next, we will continue. We haven't even gleaned. We haven't even gone deeper into contemporary, aspect. They just give us a hint. So at least you know where we're going to be talking about. But that is just a tip of the iceberg. Next, we're going to go deeper. We'll go deeper. And like I said, why some people's or some countries' currencies are so high and others are dancing all kinds of dance at the bottom. All right. So on behalf of our studio manager, on behalf of myself, on behalf of my honorable co-host and guest, I want to say thank you for joining us. Go back and listen to the clip again so you catch up where we started from. Uncle Max, Pastor Cron, thank you very much, and I will see you again next week, if not Tuesday. All right, bye-bye.
Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Jumpe dietia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, ayum pamchima. Chintu asam pamchima. Chintu egratum chima. Era one, yebo yumpankua.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. See you next week. All right, we'll talk later.
God
Bye-bye.
bless.
Bye.
Hello, beautiful people of Ghana. This is Banahine Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally opened and we are accepting patients. At Banahine Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have x-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs and you will be happy you did because we believe the health is wealth. Thank you and stay blessed.
Sunny what you buy. I did ya graduate. For near Johnny was sunny what you brought. Many about Bonnie, this summer.